All right, here we are, Sunday night, February 1st in 2026. Great way to start the month of February with a BYP live session. Let's say hi to everybody. Timmer23, how you doing? Oregon Squatch, UFO Busters of Australia, Tim Rathbone, John Hawks, Peter Van Horn. Good to see all you guys. So something very interesting happened on the way to the show the other night, so to speak. They are still trying to make 3i Atlas into a UFO mothership and trying to figure out all kinds of ways to bring it back to Earth so that it can terrify us and the aliens can invade and attack. And at this point, it's a travesty. I'm beginning to lose some respect for some of my fellow YouTubers who are doing it, in my opinion, just for the views now, because there is literally no scientific basis, even if they are scientists, for what they're saying at this point. So I wanted to address that just a little bit, and then I want to get off onto other conspiracies that are happening around the YouTube and the TikTok that I just simply don't agree with. And I'm going to explain why. The problem with our situation, and this is unfortunate, is that we have been cheated out of being able to analyze actual data relevantly. We don't know how to critically think anymore. And that is why we're such a mess in the world right now. And I'm opposed to the dumbing down. And so unfortunately, it falls to me and many. There are tens of thousands of people out there trying to get people to at least take a moment to think through what you're seeing or what you're being told. Just because someone says something does not make it fact, even if they are a colonel in an army or a president of a nation or a top dog scientist in their field. We need to learn how to analyze data. And so that's what I want to do tonight. Hey, hydrogen fuel technologies. Yeah, I watched that video response to me. I apologize. I've been angering you. That's the way it goes, you know. So anyway, I will try to be nicer to you since I apparently offended you. No offense ever intended to anybody. And hey, Dead Fish Cheese Spread, good to see you. I have been watching some of your videos as well, my friend. So anyway, and the Cynical Banana. Yeah. Yes, I have. I've been reading your responses too, Hydrogen. Yeah, you're a hoot. I'll tell you what, you are funny. All right, so, hey, Matt Dog. All right, let me get on with this because, quite frankly, I've got a lot of information. And tonight I'm going to disappoint my newfound friend, Hydrogen Fuel Technologies, because, unfortunately for you, I am not going to talk about fairies tonight. And I have not been talking about fairies. I have been talking about J.R.R. Tolkien, but that's an entire different field of literally world-class literature, and so I think that's quite important. Hey, Debbie Donovan, how are you, darling? Good to see you again. So anyway, okay, good. I mean, no offense to anybody, I promise. So thank you for telling me that, Hydrogen. You're a good man. I don't know what you're good for, but you're a good man. Come on, I said that with a smile. Calm down, pal. I can see the response video now. You killed Kenny. I did not. How you doing? All right. So here we go. Let me, what I want to do tonight is on a fun note. You know, some of this stuff gets seriously technical. And I mean, I'm not going to take you through the mathematics, but I'll share with you some of the conclusions to some mathematics and some analysis of the actual science of a claim. I do have good news for those of you who did appreciate my Pillars Under the Pyramid video, which I don't think exists there. I think that is a computer simulation, and I've had some wonderful discussions with some wonderful people in the comments. Randall Carlson came out and also said that he does not accept the pyramids. He's speaking as a geologist now. I did not speak as a geologist because I'm not one, but Randall Carlson is. And he says also that the pyramid, and that doesn't mean they're not there. I get that, but I'm not the only one just trying to be nitpicky on this. I think there is much more work that has to be done, just exactly like I'm going to share tonight with you on about 6 or 7 major issues of scientific interest, as well as historic interest, as well as philosophical interest, as well as social, personal interest to all of us. I will repeat it one more time, including my own, right here, right now. Just because it's on YouTube doesn't mean it's true. I promise. And you can get fooled with all kinds of glitzy, really spectacular presentations and cool, groovy background music that pulls your emotional heartstrings, etc. And that has nothing to do with whether a claim is valid or not. That's all window dressing. I'm not doing window dressing. I'm going to plainly hit the science tonight. So here we go. Hey, Peta, Aussie Disclosure, how you doing? Good to see you again. All right, let's get on the road here. Now, for my opening monologue, I thought I would do this. It's kind of make it a fun little thing. I want to debunk the top 5 scariest TikTok claims in under 60 seconds. Is someone ready to start timing me? Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ready, 1 sentence each. Let's go. Time me. Claim number 5. A secret space object is on a collision course with Earth. The reality, every object big enough to hit Earth is tracked by multiple countries, not by TikTok. If something were actually inbound, astronomers worldwide would be screaming it, not whispering it on social media. Claim number 4. Jupiter will grab the comet and fling it at us. The reality is gravity isn't a boomerang. Jupiter is far away. The comet is moving insanely fast. No grab, no fling, no surprise attack. Claim number 3. Solar flares mean Earth is about to crack open. The solar flares every 11 years during solar maximum. Right now, solar cycle 25 peak. Independent agencies like NOAA, the European Space Agency, etc., all say this is normal behavior. Solar flares mess with satellites, not continents. Claim number 2. Solar storms are causing earthquakes. Earthquakes come from tectonic plates. Solar flares affect the upper atmosphere, not the solid rock underneath your feet. Claim number 1. This is an extinction level event. The reality is that Earth has survived asteroid impacts, ice ages, supervolcanoes, massive storms, solar storms. A comet passing millions of miles away is not how humanity would end. If this were an extinction event, TikTok would not be the first warning system. Done. How did I do? Did I do okay? Did I get that in under 60 seconds? Come on, that was pretty impressive. That's the fastest I've talked in years. Oh, all right. So I made it in 60 seconds. Oh, cool. Well, in that case, I'll go back and read it slow. No, I want to expand on this and other subjects because I think this is important. The bottom line is extraordinary evidence requires extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and vibes don't count. Neither do glossy, classy pictures nor background music. Now, there is one question that will end any claim if it's fake. Seriously. What specific measurement proves this? We have to begin asking for evidence. That's the whole point. Distance, speed, energy, trajectory, We're not going on feelings when scientific or astrophysical or geological claims are being made. We go to those disciplines. I'm just being logical here. Oh, I got to shut off the heat. Sorry. I meant to do this earlier. Man, I hate it when I do that. Backyard professor doing his backyard professor thing. All right, that didn't take too long. It'll take the heat a moment to shut off. So Anyway, if the apocalypse really needed TikTok to warn us, we'd already be extinct, right? So now that we put all that nonsense back into the cage, let's talk about what actually is happening in space. Is space trying to kill us? You know. All right. I want to talk about space and comets and the sun and earthquakes and all kinds of stuff, and why the internet thinks all of this is trying to murder us. So the short answer is it's not. It's not out to get us. So I want to try to make this a little bit fun but informative. So imagine Earth is your house. Just imagine this in your head. Earth is your house. Now imagine a tiny rock flies past your neighborhood on the freeway from millions of miles away and is traveling at 100,000 miles an hour. And then someone on TikTok says, oh man, that rock is going to turn around and crash into your house. What do you say? No, it's already passed. It's already gone. It's not coming back. That's 3I Atlas. It's already past Earth. It's gone. It's leaving the solar system. It's on the way out. Every astronomical agency I've looked into says that. It's not coming back. There's no U-turns. There's no surprise attack. It's just bye-bye space rock. So Jupiter is also not a cosmic vacuum, and we have to clarify this up because of some things I've seen being bandied about. They're now saying Jupiter might grab this 3I Atlas and fling it back at Earth. Okay, picture this. You throw a baseball past a moving semi-truck from, say, 30 miles away. Does the truck suddenly suck the baseball in it, reverse it, and aim it back at your face? No, of course not. Gravity does not work like that. Jupiter's far away. The comet's moving insanely fast, 137,000 miles an hour. That's insanely fast. There's no grab, there's no sling, there's no boomerang comet. Physics says, nice try. So why then is our sun acting so wildly right now? And if you watch certain YouTubers, you will know who is talking about this and making hash out of it. They are freaking out about the solar flares. So the sun is in an 11-year cycle right now. We know that. And every 11 years, it gets just a little spicy, right? It acts up a little bit. There's more sunspots. There's more flares. There's more solar storms. You know, it's like puberty for stars, right? Right now, we're in the solar cycle 25 maximum. It's what they call it. This is normal. This happens over and over and over. And it's not just one group saying this. That's the thing. Independent organizations around the world track the sun. Every one of them. You got NOAA, you got the European Space Agency, you got the Royal Observatory from Greenwich. Different countries, different scientists come to the same conclusions. It is normal solar maximum. There is no comet connection. There's no planetary trigger happening here. There's no extinction event with our sun right now. So another question that kind of arises out of this is those solar flares, some of them are pretty big, and they really are. Are they what's causing our earthquakes? Nope, they're not. Earthquakes happen because giant rock plates under your feet are slowly crashing into each other. That pressure builds and then snap. Not solar flares, an earthquake. Not comets, not Jupiter. Space does not shake Earth like a snow globe. That's the point. Well, and you ask, well, hold on now. What about the tsunamis and the magnetic pole shifts? What about that? Yeah. What about all this other doom stuff? Tsunamis come from underwater earthquakes. Pole shifts take thousands of years and they happen inside of Earth's core. They don't happen from space. They don't come from comets. They don't come from solar storms. Earth has survived. Asteroid impacts, ice ages, supervolcanoes, massive solar storms, and we're still here. So that's not what's happening. A small interstellar comet passing millions of miles away is not what ends humanity. That's the extremely good news. I mean, we're still here, right? We've known about that comet now for months and months and months. And here we are tonight on the BYP live session on YouTube, right? So why do our brains fall for stuff like this? Seriously. I think this is important because we love disaster stories. You know, they give us dopamine and that feels good. Really, seriously. That's exciting. That feels exciting. So it makes you feel special, like you have found secret knowledge. Reality is boring. You know, stuff follows physics. Who cares? TikTok says the cosmic alignment of doom is coming, and that just turns everyone on. So guess which story spreads farther and faster, right? So whenever someone says this is going to destroy Earth, ask one calm question. What specific measurements proves that? Ask them for the evidence. Not feelings. You don't want screenshots. I'm not interested in AI-produced pictures. Not vibes. I want actual measurements. Distance, speed, energy, trajectory. They almost never have it. That's a key. What's really happening right now? The comet has already passed our Earth. It'll be out to Jupiter, if I remember right, March 26th of this year. So we've got a little more than a month and a half before it arrives at Jupiter. Jupiter can't grab the comet. It can't. I'll show you tonight. The sun is in a normal activity cycle. Earthquakes come from tectonic plates. Nobody sees any extinction scenario at all. And multiple countries around the world have been looking nonstop, 24/7, with all of their instruments. Multiple observatories give the same answer. So if the apocalypse really needed TikTok to warn us, we really would already be extinct. So here's the real lesson. Nature itself, what surrounds us in this world, does not run on drama, right? It runs on math. You know, stars flare, tectonic plates move, comets whiz by us. There they go. And the universe keeps doing its thing, whatever that thing is. And it doesn't matter whether YouTube is scared or not. The universe is going to keep doing its thing. So my advice is breathe, you know, drink a glass of water, have some water, touch grass, go out and have dinner, take a day off of work even, you know, Earth is still spinning. We're still here. It's all right. It's all good. So 3i Atlas already passed us. Jupiter can't grab it. The sun is just in a normal cycle, and earthquakes come from Earth. Now, there's another brand new big whoop-de-doo coming up, and this is what's the Project Anchor? Ooh, if you haven't heard about Project Anchor, hold on to your butts. You better strap in. We are doomed. Apparently, gravity on August 12th of this year, 2026, is going to be turned off for about 7 minutes. So the incredible ignorance that is being spread is just mind-boggling to me, because gravity doesn't come from two black holes that have collided. And relativity and, I mean, Stephen Hawking. If Stephen Hawking said it, it must be gospel, right? They produce two black holes colliding, produce gravity waves, and holy shit, here they come. And they're going to be here. And they're going to turn off gravity for 7 minutes on our Earth. And it's going to cause complete chaos. But on the other hand, there could be good news, because I can just see the conversation now. Hold on, honey. Let's wait until August 12th, And then we'll just float the couch into the living room. There won't be any gravity. We won't need any movers to help us. We won't have any fear of stairs. I won't get any back pain, just gently drifting refrigerators into the kitchen. And, we can move the piano through the front door like a space ballet. We'll be fine. We can move everything heavy in home. That's one optimistic outlook. On the other hand, if we can just get a basic of science, gravity is, of course, tied to Earth's mass, right? So a black hole collision is like tossing a rock into the Pacific Ocean. It makes waves, but it doesn't drain Lake Michigan. Gravitational waves are just moving ripples in space-time. They're not vacuum cleaners, right? They pass through Earth and they just keep right on going. Gravity stays right where it's at. Gravitational waves are like ripples on a gigantic cosmic drum, let's say. Two black holes hit the drum, ba-bam. The ripple travels across the universe, but it doesn't pick up your couch and throw it through the window. So those waves that are going to hit us are tiny, stretching and squeezing motions. They aren't gravity erasers. It doesn't take gravity out of the Earth. That is not how it works. They're so weak by the time they reach our Earth that scientists need instruments sensitive enough to detect changes smaller than an atom with gravity waves. So if they could cancel gravity, we'd already be floating every time a distant galaxy sneezed, right? I mean, come on. Happening on the day of an eclipse can't change that. They're making a big whoop-de-doo about that. Well, that day there's going to be an eclipse when the gravity waves hit. Holy cow, we're in trouble. No, we're not in trouble at all. They're just tiny ripples passing through space. If black holes could cancel gravity, Earth would have fallen apart billions of years ago. And yet here we are. So the world is not ending tonight, right? Here's the current space location and coordinates of 3I Atlas in case you think I'm kidding about it being gone. Every astronomical observatory says that they are 407 million kilometers away from us. So it's not going to be here. It's heading out of the solar system. It's on a hyperbolic one-time trajectory after passing closest to the sun on October 29th and closest to the Earth on December 19th. It's going to leave the solar system entirely, and it's not coming back. The anomalies of the comet have nothing to do with it being an alien spaceship. I can't believe people think that's what makes it unnatural. That is so illogical, I can't comprehend it. So all of the astronomers, the professional astronomers, the amateur astronomers, all of the observatories are saying this about it. Right now it's in the constellation Gemini heading out. Is there a chance that Jupiter's gravity can catch it and head it back toward Earth? The nearest tracking is going to be in March 2026 when it approaches Jupiter, probably March 15th or so. Now, at that time, here's the scientific explanation of why it's not going to be brought back to Earth through the gravity of Jupiter, because it's going to be 54 million kilometers away from Jupiter, and that is 0.36 astronomical units in distance. So what does that mean? An astronomical unit is the distance between the sun and our Earth, 93 million miles. It's going to be 54 million. So it can't catch it and fling it back because, one, the speed of the comet is way too fast, and it's passing Jupiter way too far away. In order to temporarily catch it, it has to be 153 times closer to Jupiter, and then the gravity of Jupiter will only change the trajectory of 3I Atlas, if it was going to be that close, by 10 degrees. As it is, the current path that it is on, and it is being monitored 24/7, says that the influence of Jupiter's gravity on 3I Atlas is going to be equivalent to a feather nudging a bowling ball. That's how this works. When you look at the physics, when you study the mathematics, you see it is literally impossible physically for Jupiter to grab 3I Atlas and fling it back toward our Earth. That's the facts. You're welcome to check on me. I'm happy to be corrected if I'm wrong. So it will be a literal miracle. I mean, of the kind where Moses parts the Red Sea if Jupiter flings that rock back this way. I will be deeply impressed if that's what happens. So, have there been any planetary alignments that are significant in the last 2 years? This is another subject where, man, when the planets align, watch out, baby. It's doomsday. Bend over and kiss your rearest goodbye. It's over. Hope you had a good life, etc. Well, the majority of the planetary alignments are from our Earth perspective. They aren't culinary gravity alignments at all. And no, there have been none of those in the last 2 years. Would they affect us if they were actually aligned as such? No, they would not. 3I Atlas is not coming back if all of the planets align and all of that gravitational influence. Someone doesn't understand gravity at all, because 3I Atlas's trajectory is irrelevant to a planetary alignment. It's going where it's going because that's how it works with physics. So the very interesting thing is, there has not been any real gravitational planetary alignment in our solar system for 2 years, or for many decades, that have ever produced significant gravitational effects on Earth, such as overwhelmingly huge, gigantic tidal waves or huge earthquakes. It'll develop killer storms all over the Earth. It'll cause magnetic pole shifts if the planets align. And none of that's valid. That's all just hokum. Truly. Because what does real gravitational alignment mean? Multiple planets line up in three-dimensional space along a straight single line extending from the sun outward, and their gravitational forces add coherently in the same direction. This is extremely rare and does not happen in a meaningful gravitational way on human timescales. Why? Because they're on slightly different planes. They have different orbital periods. To actually literally line them up, we have never seen yet as a human species. It's always from our Earth point of view. That's how that works. So, why planets don't cause major Earth events through gravity? Because the gravitational force falls off extremely fast. Newton's law of gravity absolutely is the mathematical proof of that. Even a massive planet like Jupiter, at its closest, is so far away from Earth that it's millions of times less influential on Earth gravitationally than our own moon. And we've never seen the moon produce tides of 1,000 feet high on our Earth. And a planetary alignment will not do that either. It never has. That's not how it works. So that's what happens. What actually drives earthquakes tides and storms. This is another, linking that everybody loves to say happens in a planetary alignment. No, it does not. I'm sorry to disinform you, but it's necessary. Tides are caused almost entirely by our moon and a smaller degree by the sun, but the sun is so far away that the moon is much more prominent. Earthquakes, those are not triggered. Earthquakes are not triggered by planetary alignment. That is by plate tectonics on the ground. Stress buildup in Earth's crust is what causes earthquakes. This is Geophysics 101, you guys. Sometimes small tidal stresses can slightly modulate the timing of minor earthquakes, but they do not cause major earthquakes. On the idea of huge storms, tornadoes 2,000 miles high and 400 or 500 miles wide and all that, none of that's valid. That is driven by solar heating, by ocean temperature gradients, by atmospheric circulation, by jet streams, and solar wind and magnetic interactions. These do not affect magnetic polar shifts either. So this is good news. When we begin to explore the science, we begin to have a clearer picture of why there's no reason to be scared out of your pants. There's no reason to. Now, a true magnetic or a rotational pole shift, swapping the north and south poles, happens over thousands to millions of years. Not overnight, not in a week, not on Super Bowl Sunday next weekend. No, it does not happen that speedily. We have decades and decades and decades of nonstop data looking at the magnetic field. We know how it functions, and that's not how it functions. So it's driven by processes in Earth's core, not by planetary gravity in an alignment. That's really important for the physics of Earth. So astrophysicists and geophysicists agree that the planetary alignments do not trigger earthquakes. They do not trigger tsunamis. They do not trigger volcanic eruptions or major weather events at all. And even the closest giant planets, Jupiter and Saturn together, exert tiny gravitational effects to Earth's own internal and nearest external moon-sun forces. So this is supported by the data from seismology, satellite gravity measurements, weather observation, and tidal modeling that we have based on years and decades of patterns being understood. We don't guess Earth's gravity. This is not just science crossing its fingers and hoping, wow, I really hope gravity doesn't stop for 7 minutes in August this year, etc. No, we're not guessing when we say this. We measure it with missions like GRACE and the GRACE follow-on. Those are twin satellites that can detect mass changes as small as melting ice sheets. If Jupiter or a comet is tugging on Earth in any dangerous way, these satellites would see it instantly. They can detect shifting water underground. They can detect shrinking glaciers, ocean mass changes. So if planets were secretly yanking on the Earth, the satellites would see that. It would be known in the data. It's not known in the data. You can hide rumors. You can't hide gravity from satellites. Earth gravity and magnetic fields aren't monitored by just one group either. They're measured by international missions. Now, these missions were built by NASA and the German Aerospace Center, by the European Space Center, the Airbus and Thales Alenia. These satellites are sensitive enough to see melting ice sheets and underground water, so that if Jupiter or a comet were tugging on Earth, they'd see it instantly. The GRACE add-on was built by the Airbus Defense and Space. Their mission added laser interferometry And it is so precise that it can detect changes in satellite placing smaller than the width of a red blood cell. Not exaggerating. A red blood cell is about 1/10 the width of a human hair, which I got cut today. And those satellites can detect changes even smaller than that. So that means that these satellites can sense motion on the scale of millionths of a meter. So small, you can't even make the gap correct between your finger and thumb. That's how accurate they are. So we do not have a planetary alignment that caused the 2011 Japan earthquake. That is pure hokum. There is no scientific evidence exists linking planetary positions with the magnitude 9.0 quake. It was a huge, deadly quake for sure. After the 2011 Japan earthquake, the scientists checked the planetary and tidal links. Large statistical studies show no connection whatsoever. It was classic plate tectonics. Planets don't crack Earth's crust. That's accurate. So the super simple explanation is that the forces from Jupiter and Saturn, etc., on Earth are millions of times weaker than the stresses that are already stored in the tectonic plates themselves right here on Earth. Planets are like a feather on a loaded mousetrap. They don't set it off. Now, the bottom line, serious studies exist. They've tested these ideas directly. The answer is there is no planetary trigger. Earthquakes come from plate tectonics, not from planetary alignments. They do not come from comets, and it's not cosmic geometry. Now, we've been told that huge storms here on Earth are due to Saturn and Jupiter. Storms result from atmospheric physics, not distant planetary tugs, even if they are from our giant planets. That is completely false in the real world of science. Now, they also say that these planetary alignments are what cause the magnetic pole shifts. And this is a very interesting idea because we know pole shifts are caused from internal Earth events over geological timescales. Pole shifts happen because liquid from deep inside Earth slowly flows and swirls. And what that does is it changes the Earth's magnetic field over thousands of years. It's kind of like, say, a thick soup slowly changing direction in a pot. So in short, there have been sky alignments visible from Earth in the last 2 years. That's true, but they have had no real gravitational alignments of planets. Such alignments have not caused tidal waves, giant earthquakes, killer storms, pole shifts, or any other natural Earth disasters. So, is it planetary alignment that is causing the current solar storms we're seeing, uprise and magnitude with the sun? Are those flares linked to a big earthquake here on Earth? Are we in danger of becoming extinct? Is Earth doomed? No. There's no planetary alignment are not driving the current solar activity that is entirely developed on the sun by itself. There are no solar flares are not causing major earthquakes here on Earth. That's not how earthquakes work. No, we are not facing extinction from this, and no, Earth is not doomed from these solar flares. We have lived through thousands of them, and they've never destroyed the Earth for 4.5 billion years. They're not going to destroy it now. We can measure gravity from space. We can track rocks millions of miles away. We can map Earth's magnetic field in real time as it is happening, and we can predict comet orbits years ahead. Now, that's incredible when you think about that. It's way cooler than the conspiracy stories because this is about real human achievement, and that rocks. I'd rather celebrate this than denigrate and mock it. Well, science doesn't know anything. Yeah, I beg to differ. I've got the evidence to show you otherwise. You don't need secret insiders or whispers. You don't need TikTok prophets or YouTube grifters. We need telescopes and satellites and math and patience. And boom, suddenly the universe becomes understandable. Man, I love that. That's what happens. So why is the sun acting up right now then? Because it's always acted up in roughly an 11-year rhythm. That's how this works. It's called the solar cycle. Right now, we're near the solar cycle 25 maximum. That's what they call it. It's a period when the sunspots increase in number on the surface of the Earth. We're seeing that, yes. It's where solar flares become more frequent. We are definitely seeing that, yes, of course. It's where the coronal mass ejections, the CMEs, are happening more often. Yes, indeed, we are seeing that as well. But this is internal solar material. It's the physics of the sun that's causing that, nothing from Earth. It's twisted magnetic field lines is what's causing the sunspots. It's plasma convection inside the sun itself. Has nothing to do with planetary alignment. It's magnetic reconnection events releasing stored energy from within the sun outward. No planets are required for this. It's been doing that ever since it started existing. Billions of years. Even massive planets like Jupiter exert trivial gravitational influence on the sun compared to the sun's own internal forces. Organizations like NASA and NOAA, they track this continuously, and everything we're seeing fits normal solar maximum behavior. This has happened many times before, roughly every decade. Do planetary alignments trigger solar storms? No, they have nothing to do with it. Even if all the planets in the solar system gravitationally in a collinear way lined up, they wouldn't influence the sun at all as far as the solar storms, the frequencies, the size, etc. None of that comes from that. That's all just doomsday silliness. Do solar flares cause big earthquakes? No, and there is a reason. Again, where do the earthquakes come from? Plate tectonics, stress accumulating in Earth's crust, and fault rupture mechanics. Solar activity affects our upper atmosphere without question. The ionosphere, yes, we know that. It will affect our own power grids because it is electromagnetic energy. Absolutely. It can affect our computers and our cell phones and all that. No question about that. It certainly can affect our satellites and our radios without question. But the energy coupling into Earth's solid crust is microscopic. Researchers have looked for correlation between solar storms and earthquakes, and they do not hold up statistically. At most, tiny tidal or electronic effects, these can slightly influence the timing of very small earthquakes, but they don't cause gigantic earthquakes. Solar flares do not generate tectonic energy. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So are we facing extinction and doom? No, not by a long shot. Now, the 1858 Carrington event, that was a gigantic solar storm, and it didn't cause mass death or crustal disruption or climate collapse. It didn't cause the magnetic poles to shift and switch and change at all, and it didn't cause anything to go extinct. And yet we haven't had one like that since, and that was in 1859. We survived that. See, it would disrupt our technology, of course, but that's not a civilization-ending event. We've endured stronger solar cycles, asteroid impacts, supervolcanoes, ice ages, and the good news is, here we are. Thank goodness. See, that's cool. So Atlas will never be aimed at Earth. It's gone. Jupiter's not going to grab it back. I repeated several bits of this because I wanted to make sure I had some extra information, but I can see it's too repetitive. But I wanted to make sure you understand, whoever out there is saying 3i Atlas is going to be brought back through Jupiter's gravity, don't know what the hell they're talking about. I don't care if they have a PhD. They're not accurate. The math does not support that. Tell them to show the math. They can't do it. It does not support that supposition. So why even bother with it? Because it generates views on their videos. That's why. Just like this planetary alignment stuff. Just like this ridiculous idea that the solar flares cause earthquakes. No, they don't. It's amazing, man. There's no cosmic combo attack. There's no extinction chain going on. Nothing abnormal is happening. So every decade, the sun does get loud. That's true. Year comets pass through. Sure. Every day earthquakes happen. Absolutely. Our brains connect dots, you see, but physics doesn't care about narratives. Physics is just how the reality operates. That's what happens. So I've said that. Is the sun freaking out? Solar storms and comets do not equal our doom. No, it does not. And what is our extinction check? I wanted to share this because we have survived asteroid impacts and ice ages and supervolcanoes and massive solar storms and magnetic pole flips and humans. And yet here we still are, right? So the simple bottom line is, if the apocalypse really needed TikTok and YouTube to warn us, we really would be extinct already. We're addicted to fear dopamine. See, it's not that we're stupid. We're not stupid. We're just addicted to fear. Disaster stories gives us emotional hits. That's what happens. And I'll skip through that because I wanted to, I put as much into this as I could, and you're already aware that there are several observatories that have independent agencies worldwide are looking at the sun, and it's a normal solar cycle peak, no comets, no planets, no extinction event. None of the observatories have said that at all. And they all say the same thing. We're in a normal solar maximum. There's no comet connection. There's no planetary trigger. There's no apocalypse. So stop allowing yourself to be scared, for crying out loud. In my conspiracy type thinking, this is exactly what the Black Ops secret government want you to become, is terrified. That way they can make up an event coming in 2027 and say it's beyond our capacity to defeat. We need to join in all the other nations and we need total power. And then once they get that, they're never giving it back. I don't want that. I love my freedoms. I hope all of the rest of us do too. And I think we do. But that means we have to be vigilant. We have to start thinking, and we have to guard and fight for those freedoms, right? So remember, if 3 continents agree and TikTok disagrees, I'm going to side with the 3 continents. I hope that's okay with all of you. I'm not going to go with it just because someone on TikTok says so, you know, and shows off their big boobs with their cleavage or whatever. That's not enough evidence to convince me they're right about solar flares, right? So yeah, I know how they do it. And the other thing is, magnetic pole wandering happens slowly over the centuries. True geomagnetic reversals takes thousands of years. In fact, humankind has never seen one. The last one that was done was 780,000 years ago. We've never really seen a major pole shift. We've seen some messiness, some kind of an unstable North Pole. You know, it does wander. It's not just stuck in place at the North Pole. It'll wander around a few hundred miles here and there. We're seeing that, yes. But that doesn't mean it's a magnetic polar shift as such, right? It's not like a rubber band breaking. See, I'm trying to think of who told me that years ago, and it was dead wrong. Absolutely wrong. This is driven by Earth's liquid outer core. It's not the sun, it's not the planets, and there's no sudden flip that happens. That's not how it works. It's not a rubber band breaking. It's not a huge dispersal of energy flowing in both directions either. So north and south, it's going to rip continents apart, we're told, and cause huge 1,000-foot high tidal waves. No, that's not how this works. It's not a rubber band apocalypse. I know. Where's the fun in that? But so what? A geomagnetic reversal is like a pot of thick soup that's slowly changing swirl direction. So, and that's because of the liquid iron core in the center of our planet, and it slowly flows and circulates. No snap, no bust, no shock wave, just slow sloshing. So think geological molasses with this, not explosive energy. It's not going to rip continents apart because magnetism does not move tectonic plates. There's no connection with that at all. Continents move because of mantle convection and plate tectonics, not magnetic fields. That has nothing to do with it. Your fridge magnet has a magnetic field, but does it tear your kitchen apart? No, of course not. Right? Same idea. Just scaled up slowly and gently. Will it cause 1,000-foot tidal waves? Again, no. Tsunamis come from earthquakes and underwater landslides and asteroid impacts. It does not come from magnetic fields. Magnetism doesn't push the oceans around. If it did, every MRI machine would be a tsunami generator, right? So, is energy blasting out of both poles, north and south? No, that's not how it works. During the reversal, there's no giant energy discharge at all. There's not a planetary shock wave. No. There's no magnetic explosion. No. This isn't dynamite or C4. The field just gradually reorganizes. That's what the flip is. Scientists know this because we can see past reversals recorded in ancient lava flows and the ocean crust, and we can see how long they take. We've seen hundreds of them. We know the cycle. It happens every 200 to 300,000 years. So who actually studied this? The United States Geological Survey and the NOAA, the National Center for Environmental Information. Reversals are slow, they're non-catastrophic, they've happened many times, and they did not wipe out life. So that's pretty much that. There's no sudden flip, no energy blast, no continent shredding, there's no mega tsunami involved, there's no extinction event with the magnetic polar change, but there are still bears in the wood and bisons on the plain. And it's just slow planetary plumbing doing what it's done for hundreds of millions of years. The last full reversal, like I was saying, is the Bruns-Matuyama reversal 780,000 years ago. That's long before modern humans, farming, cities, writing, and YouTube existed. So no civilization has ever experienced a complete flip. What about early humans? Well, there's no evidence of mass extinction or planetary chaos tied to the reversal, but life kept going. There have been some what we would call almost reversals. For instance, magnetic excursions, that is, they wobble, they move around away from the pole over here and over there a little bit, sure. The last one that happened was 42,000 years ago. But the entire magnetic field weakened and the poles wandered around, and then everything went back to normal. Early humans and Neanderthals were alive at that time, but guess what happened? No continents were ripped apart 42,000 years ago. No 1,000-foot tsunamis occurred anywhere. No extinction of humanity happened, you see, and there was no invention of TikTok then either. So people kept making cave art and hunting the mammoths, right? So here's how we study this magnetic pole, and this is important. I was surprised at the amount of evidence that we have and how we acquire it. For instance, the NOAA, the National Centers for Environmental Information, their satellite magnetic data. Now, what this does is the satellite will measure Earth's magnetic field right now, real time, as it's going around the Earth. It's measuring the field, and it's showing how the poles slowly drift over time. In the ancient lava flows, when the lava cools, we have discovered that it locks in the direction of Earth's magnetic field, and therefore the scientists can read past pole positions like fossilized compass needles. Now that's just cooler than all get out. That's pretty genius, whoever came up with that. There's another way with the ocean crust. And this was fascinating because as the new sea floor forms, it records magnetic stripes that act like a barcode of every flip. And this goes back millions of years. So their conclusion is rock solid, no pun intended. It's slow, takes thousands of years. It's messy because there's a lot of temporary magnetic poles as they wander around. They'll wander for a few hundred years and then stay in a spot for a few hundred years, and then they'll come back over here and then back up over to the North Pole and then tip over that way for 1,000 miles or whatever. They're very movable through time. Nothing ever explodes. They're not explosive. And they're survivable because it's happened hundreds of times. The key takeaway is simply this. It takes time. Doesn't happen over a weekend. There's no recorded human civilization has seen a full reversal. The partial wobbles already happened while humans existed. Nothing catastrophic followed that. There was no sudden snap, no energy blast, no continent shredding. Nothing happened. It's slow planetary plumbing. It's not a cosmic light switch where you flip it and all of a sudden, bam, things happen. No, that's not how it works. So, and for someone who says the magnetic poles are moving right now, well, yeah, because they're always moving. They're never really stationary. So what? That doesn't mean anything. It wanders a little bit every year. Guess who discovered that? Edmund Halley in 1701. Yeah, Halley's Comet fame. He discovered Earth's magnetic field isn't fixed. It slowly moves, and scientists have been tracking that drift ever since. It's amazing what humans figured out with just ships and compasses and curiosity, isn't it? This same Halley who figured out comet orbits also literally went out on a ship with compasses and notebooks, and he said, hang on, Earth's magnetic field is moving. He captained his own research ship. It was called the HMS Paramore, actually the Paramore Pink in 1698. Well, what he wanted to do is he wanted to map compass errors for the British Navy because they were noting that, wow, our compasses have errors here. What's going on? So he went to map it. He ended up discovering the Earth's magnetic field actually moves. This was when the Royal Society was big. Began in 1660, as a group of scientists comparing experiments. Then King Charles II made it official. This is where modern science began measuring things. This was when Peter the Great in Russia was touring Europe to steal as much technology as he could for his own country. This is when Isaac Newton was in his prime and he was reshaping physics in England. That's when it was discovered. We've known about it for centuries. Humans are mapping invisible planetary forces with wooden ships and brass instruments. I mean, come on, that is fabulous. That's epic, right? See, thinking magnetic poles are moving, and therefore because of that we're doomed, is like watching the hands on a clock move and yelling, "Oh my gosh, time is collapsing." No, it's just how clocks work. This is normal magnetic drift. Anyway, I beat that dead horse. And then someone says, yeah, but look at all the big earthquakes and the volcanoes that are going on right now. Here's the key. Earth has 20,000 earthquakes every year. That's just the way it is. Dozens of active volcanoes all over the planet. Now, most of them are along that Pacific rim that we know that outlines the Pacific Ocean. That's true. And then down there, down by Australia in the Indonesian area. Yeah, that's where most of them are. And we also have constant tectonic plate motion. Nothing on Earth is still at all. We know that. Now, most people just never paid attention before social media started live streaming everything. Now we're beginning to see much more about earthquakes, excuse me, and volcanoes and all of this stuff, tsunamis. But this isn't Earth waking up. This is Earth being Earth. Earthquakes, volcanoes, mountain ranges, not magnetism, not comets, not solar flares. The same agencies that are monitoring global seismic activity sees no abnormal spike that would indicate planet scale instability anywhere. Earthquakes are not getting bigger or more frequent over my lifetime, the last 65 years. That's not what's happening. What has increased is our own ability to detect and report the small ones, and we're doing a good job of that. Are they getting worse through time and bigger? No. Are they becoming more frequent? I mean, like the big quakes, 8+ magnitude? No, they are not becoming more frequent. Are they more dangerous because Earth is changing? No, but what's happening, according to the United States Geological Survey, is that the number of large earthquakes, say a magnitude 7+, that has basically stayed flat for a century. Every year, Earth averages about 15 of the 7+ magnitude earthquakes. There's one magnitude 8+ that happens every year, and that hasn't changed. So why does it feel like there are more? Two simple reasons. Because we have developed much better sensors and capabilities to detect a lot more earthquakes, without question. And the news 24/7 now, social media. Everybody all over the world is connected through the internet, and they're able to say, oh my gosh, I live in Indonesia and we just had a 6.1 earthquake, and then the whole world knows it within 1 hour. And that's nice. That's impressive. But yeah, that's what's happening. Earthquakes themselves aren't interesting, but damage and deaths sometimes rise because more of us are living in the riskier zones. The cities are much larger now than they used to be even 100 years ago, right? There's a whole lot more of us on the planet now, and the infrastructures have different qualities. Not all structures are made the same. So earthquakes happen, and this is a human geography issue, not a planetary issue. Big earthquakes are stable. Earth's tectonics is unchanged. Our detection is way better, without question. Our news coverage is way louder, without question. But there's not a hidden acceleration of number or size. There's no global instability curve that we've discovered. It's just the same old plates moving, doing their thing, as has happened for billions of years. That's what's happening. So I'm not scared. No, there's no reason to be scared, because if Earth were actually entering a catastrophic phase, we would see clear instruments across all the disciplines: geology, astronomy, physics. It wouldn't just be a scare video up on TikTok or YouTube. We would see all the agencies worldwide in multiple countries seeing these problems and sharing them. So motion does not equal disaster. That's the key here. The magnetic pole is moving, therefore time is collapsing. No. Earthquakes happen. The planet is dying. No. The sun flares. We have a cosmic doom coming at us from space. No. Nope, none of that. Earth is just keep doing Earth stuff like it's supposed to. Literally, truly. So the first rule when it comes to anomalies is anomaly does not mean mystery doom object. If something is anomalous, it means something looks unusual, so of course everybody wants to measure it. That's how the scientist would behave. Of course, you do want to measure it more carefully. That's it. That's what an anomaly is and means. Every new comet or the interstellar objects, they start with anomalies because it's faint. It's so far away. At one point, 3I Atlas was just a mere pinprick when it was so far away, right? Well, that's an anomaly, right? Or it could be moving fast, which it did. And early measurements are noisy, whereas as more data comes in, the orbit tightens up. That's called normal astronomy. There's nothing wrong with any of that. So we, as an online community, unfortunately, we've come to use anomalies to mean I don't understand this, therefore it's got to be something crazy because it's an anomaly. That's how we look at it. But it doesn't have to be that. Scientists would look at an anomaly as something we don't know yet, so let's get studying it and measure it, test it, and see what it is. That's how they do it. So it's not reverse direction and attack Earth. So on turning around, Jupiter's too far away. The flyby isn't close enough. The speed is too high. No braking system exists. There's no cosmic handbrake for 3I Atlas. There's no magic boomerang out there of gravity. No. Once it passes Jupiter, it's gone forever. And I said that months and months and months ago. Way back in August, I was saying that. Every professional observatory on Earth would see that change if that's what would happen, and they would report it. Because, it's not the United States stuff like NASA is the only one doing anything. No, this is a worldwide looking out in space, as well as a worldwide multinational looking at the Earth's crust, the Earth's interior, the relationship of our Earth to our moon, the relationship of the Earth to the sun, etc. It's not just a one nation thing here that's going on. It's the entire world. And we would know because several of those are open access to the public, and we can now get to them through the internet. If NASA keeps the information from you, you don't have to throw up your hands in despair thinking we're doomed. You can go over to the European one or the German one or the Japanese one or the Australian one, etc. People want this to be anomalous because it adds mystery to it. I get that. That's good. But let's keep it real. I've said this several times. All I want to do is know what's real. Yeah. So reality is quieter. It's just another interstellar visitor passing through. There's no boss fight. There's no plot twist. There's nothing dramatic or going on. There's no cinematic return of the object or whatever. So once they see an anomaly in the sky, once they identify it, etc., that's where math takes over. And math is universally applicable in every nation around the world. All of the scientists, regardless of their nationality, etc., they all use math the same way because it's universal medium, right? Universal meaning everyone on Earth uses it the same. 2 and 2 is 4 in Japan, just like it is in South Africa, up in Canada, or down in Australia, or in Arkansas in the United States, right? That's what I mean. So once you have multiple observations of an anomaly, that's where you begin to test the speed, the direction, the distance, the orbit, And the reason they do that is because they can take that information and then they can see, well, is this thing bound to the sun? Is it leaving? Is it actually close to Earth? It's just geometry and gravity. No opinions are involved. It's measurement that's telling them about the anomaly. So the whole planet checks it. I've already said that. If it's a threat, the alarms will go off worldwide. I've already said that. Space objects aren't tracked by one government. They're tracked by thousands of scientists across dozens of countries who do use open data. Thank goodness. TikTok would not be the first place where this data is shared. I promise. Germany, Chile, Australia, the US, everybody, Japan, everybody would be doing it. Multiple telescopes see it. Multiple countries verify it. Public databases store it. Physics predicts it. There's no secret comet ambush system that exists like YouTube and TikTok tries to convince us there is. That's pure baloney. So, and the psychology. Why does TikTok always find doom first? Because it's the psychology of the human brain. And we got to have a quick reality check. Because scary videos spread faster than normal ones that talk about reality. Have you ever noticed that? That's not an accident. Your brain is hardwired for survival. So when it hears the end of the world is coming, damn, we want to find out why and how and where. We want to see if we can do something to save our own hides. Right? We get adrenaline rushes. That feels exciting. The excitement makes you watch longer. You want more. Show me more of this. Boom. There you go. You're hooked on the doomsday scene. Algorithms of our electronic social media. They reward emotion, not accuracy. No, I mean, really. The apps like the TikTok, they don't check science. They check, did you watch? Did you comment? Did you share the video? That's all they care about. They could care less what it says, right? That's why we have so much stupid AI slop all over the place with all these fake videos and fake personalities out there, and they can make up anything they want. Oh, 3i Atlas split into 1,000 pieces. 18 of them went over to Mars to colonize Mars. 9 of them are going to come floating back by Earth and monitor Earth. 3 of them went over to the sun so that they could suck up more energy from the sun. And the rest of them are heading to Jupiter because that's where the hidden alien base is on the other side of Jupiter, so we can't see it. I mean, they can make up any crock and bull story they want to, and they're not going to be censored, but they are going to be watched. Yeah. Fear gets video clicks. Calm explanations don't, right? So, I mean, look at this. I have 57 viewers right now. Most people get 2 and 3 and 400, if not 2 and 3 and 4,000. But that's because they're talking about some sensational aspect of the Anunnaki or Atlantis or, oh my God, we've got another doomsday comet coming. I don't do that stupid shit. I want to know what's real. That's how this works. I realize I'm in the minority. So, and that's not evil. That's just the math. That's how it works. Loud beats correct. A calm scientist says this is normal solar activity with the sun. A guy yelling in his car says, oh my God, cosmic alignment of doom is here. The solar flares are going to cause massive earthquakes and millions are going to die. And 157,000 people will watch the doomsday guy and only 309 will watch the scientist. That's how it works. Reality sounds boring. What do you talk about in reality? Orbital mechanics. Whoopee. Plate tectonics. That doesn't turn me on. How about magnetic drift? You're putting me to sleep, for God's sake. But conspiracies, those feel exciting. You have secret knowledge. You have hidden threats. You have special insiders that leak special information and you get to filter it out to the public. Aliens are living among us, man. We're being watched. That's exciting shit. See, they want movie plots. I wish I could. I do. I really do. But I just want what's real. That's how it works. I want what's real. So here's the big takeaway. TikTok does not promote what's true. YouTube doesn't either. It promotes what keeps you watching. So fear is addictive. Physics is not. That's how it works. Fear is addictive. Physics is not. And don't think the black ops secret government doesn't know that psychology. They're going to try to scare the living shit out of us for the next year and a half or two so that they can then, without any forcing at all, convince us to give them full power to save us because we are powerless against the mothership coming in. That's Jeremy Corbell theory. They're going to tell us in 2027 the mothership's on the way. I'm going to keep my eyes out on that one. I'm just saying. And again, remember, we can ask, what specific measurement proves your dramatic theory? Give me the measurement. Don't tell me the story. No, I don't want to see an AI picture or a computer-generated picture like you have with the pillars under the pyramids. No, give me the measurements. Give me the mathematics. That's what will help filter 99% of the stuff. Not vibes, not screenshots, not dramatic music, actual numbers, distance, speed, energy, trajectory. Give me what's real. Most doom videos will die right there. Truly. And if you ask it in the comments, boy, the other people will pile up on you. Oh, you're one of them closed-minded dweebs. You scientific schmuck. Science has you brainwashed, etc. They'll do all kinds of stuff to intimidate you away from asking for actual measurements. But that's how you distinguish truth from reality. That's what makes AJ of the Why Files so powerful, because he'll tell the story, but then he'll share the real with you at the end. And he gets a lot of hate for that, because we would rather have the story about Sasquatch or Bigfoot or whatever we're studying. UFOs or solar flares is going to be our doom, etc. We're a funny species, aren't we? Always trust math over meltdowns. That would be my advice. Always trust the math. Social media rewards the panic, you know. But that's not what nature runs on. Nature runs on math. Yeah. So that's where we're at. That's what we've got to do. I haven't had a chance to look at the I hope you guys behaved yourselves in the chat. If not, I apologize for anybody who got offended, but anyway. All right, you guys, I will go through this chat, and maybe based on what you say, I'll make another video, but that's pretty much all I've got tonight. Thank you for sharing this hour and 15 minutes with me. I always like these Sunday night lives. You guys get together and we get to gab a little bit, and then I get to share some ideas. But just remember, we just want to find out what's real. And that means you have to discard some of your pet favorite theories and pick up theories that you may or may not really like, but that's not what it's about. I mean, if you want what's real, you know, that's how this works. I didn't make it this way. That's how the universe is. So don't yell at me, you know, scream at God. He's the one that made it all this way. So, all right, you guys, I will catch up to you just as soon as I can. You have a fantastic night. I'll be back soon.